Thanks for being here, guys. We're excited for another season, fourth season for me and my family to be here, and it's an exciting time. I think anytime you're looking about where you're going, you got to look at where you've been. And so, in our first 3 years, we've had increased improvements in various ways with the program, on the field and off. And, we're not expecting too much different this year, but we'll go into what some of maybe the different obstacles are this year that we haven't had in our first 3 years. You look at us finishing last year 46 and 14? Is that right? Sorry. We were 46 and 14, and you look at some of the things that we didn't have cages, we didn't have an indoor facility. We walked from Diddle down to the field every day. It was brought up to us numerous times with the teams that we were playing last year at our place, and they would make some of those comments about really what we're going through every day, like I didn't already know that, but they were making the comment, and then we'd proceed to take 2 out of 3 or 3 games from them on the weekend. And there's a lot to be said, number one, with those kids that we had. And then number 2, just where we're going with our culture, there's no blaming, there's no complaining. We're not going to defend or deny anything. We're going to face it and we're going to attack it, and that's what we did. So I was really proud of that moment. Now, that moment leads into other moments, right? As soon as we get home from the regional, we lose everybody on our roster into the portal, but I think it was like 9 players. Just the world that we live in now, we had to start recruiting. We held on to the ones that we already had signed to come in, which we were happy with, and then it gets to be, finding guys in June and July that wanted to be at WKU. So the hunt was on, and it was aggressive. But yet, while you're doing that, you're trying to find the right kids. We're trying to find the right person who makes the player, and a lot of that comes with the family they come from, the schools they come from, and just building a relationship as fast as you can and getting a good feel about who you're recruiting. So, along with losing those kids, and they made, I think it was something like over $1.4 million going in the portal. Dylan Napoleon gets a job. He's from Chicago, and him and Bethany got the opportunity to go back to the University of Illinois. So it was really hard for him, and I will say that. It was hard for him. It was harder than I even thought it would be for him. But I told him, I'm like, in this profession, you do what's best for you and your family. And so I was condoning it and really happy for him. But we've been together 6 years, and other than a recruiter, the best thing in this job is baseball to have a relationship with and really be in sync with is a pitching guy. So I had to go out and find a new pitching coach. Brett Neffendorf was that guy, and he has been tremendous this fall with what we're doing to keep up with where we've been and where we're going. So the third thing with players, a roster, and then coaches was facilities and where we're at now. We just moved in. The coaching staff just moved in this weekend upstairs. Our players have been in it a couple weeks now, the first level, and I don't know what we'd be doing if we didn't have these facilities, and we didn't move in a few weeks ago before this weather started. So it's been tremendous for our kids. Our guys love it. It's their locker room. They have a player's kitchen, our own weight room. We have our hitting facility in there, and then you just walk through another door, and all of a sudden you're into a 100-yard indoor practice football field. And as of right now, I haven't found another one yet, so I keep claiming it. WKU baseball is the only program in the country that has its own baseball facility that is directly connected to the 100-yard practice indoor facility. Traditionally, you're walking across a parking lot or you're going halfway across campus and you're hauling your stuff over there to practice and then got to haul it back. We just walk right into it, and it has been fantastic. It's not something that you want to have to be in a lot, but when you need to, and Mother Nature has the power it has and has dominated us lately, it's been great to have that, and it's a difference maker for us to be ready for the season. So our roster is probably right now, before we get going and the cream rises, I would say our pitching would be my biggest question mark. From where we were last year, I mean, we were a top 5 ERA pitching staff the entire season in the country. And, I really like some of our pieces, but it's a pitching staff, just not a couple pitchers that you need. So we're looking to develop that. We've got the first month of the season is how I really feel, from February 13th to March 13th when FIU comes in. That's when I really feel like we need that month to kind of let some things fall into place that way. So hopefully I gave you enough there to start, and then we can. You still got some video left on those cameras, but that's where we're at right now, and we're 10 days away from first pitch, I believe.
Yeah, I guess back to facilities. Are you guys 100% with that, or is it still a little bit of a work in progress?
We're 100% in. My entire staff and players are in. They're in the process as of right now. They're hooking up like our cold tubs that we have in there for our players for recovery. They're in the process of getting those hooked up right now. Locker room wise, they're all good. Upstairs, some of the stuff they were hooking up, like our printer today. You got those things going on, and I foresee those going on for the next month. Although especially when you start bringing up problems yourself or ideas, and then they got to circle back around and take care of those. So it's one of those works in progress. But to have all of our staff, you go back to what I was just, I guess, ranting about, my wife would say, about last year, the last couple of years. Coach Fournier, Rob Fournier, hasn't had he's been up here for a little bit, in Smith Stadium for a little bit, up in the press box for a little bit, and then he's just kind of wandered for a little bit and just hasn't had an office. It is just one of those things. Knapp was the same way. Napoleon was the same way. And it's really hurt me personally, because I'm such a culture guy, relationship guy with my staff and players, that I haven't had Neffendorf. He's been up in the press box. So we've kind of got to know each other through periodical meetings in my office up here, but then I'd go down and I would be with him, try to be with him quite a bit down in the bullpen, so I could just get to know him more. I've been really pleased. His organization and detail and the way that he works with the pitchers. I know the pitching staff has been happy with him, which tends to be a big thing, but we've all been happy. And he's got big shoes to fill, but this isn't my first time having to hire in a new guy, even though the guy I left did a really good job. That's why he got opportunities. You just got to bring somebody else in, and you just keep going.
Coach, I know you started talking about him there for a second, but what can you tell us about Neffendorf, his strengths, how he's really going to be good for this program?
Well, the uniqueness of this as well is he's the second guy I've hired away from being a head coach. Rob Fournier is at Wabash, head coach there for like 25 years, and he's my recruiting guy, my number one assistant. And Neffendorf was at Indiana University, was it Southeast, I believe, NAI in southern Indiana. And I just, he comes from a baseball family. He'd actually been down to some of our games. Fournier knows him personally way better than I do, but his older brother is the head coach at Shreveport, who just won the NAI LSU Shreveport. They went 59-0 and won the national championship last year. So just the family. But I like the guys that have been head coaches. If I'm fortunate and one of those types are in as a candidate for me, I like that because he truly is the head coach of the pitchers. And he needs to have that, and he doesn't have to worry about going out and fundraising and travel and schedules and everything else. He just worries about pitching, and he can put all of his experience and his skill set into the pitching staff, and it's been paying off so far really well.
Just he'd mentioned culture too, and I was wondering about that. Obviously, you did lose a lot of these guys that were very successful to
Yep.
the portal, but not as many as you might have. You still managed to hold on to some guys that possibly could have gone somewhere else.
Yeah.
Austin and Reed and Camden and Dawson, Kyle, Dalton, Five Ash. I mean, how important is that to retain that core to keep this culture?
Oh, I think any time, especially at this level, the mid-major level in baseball, if you can keep some. I mean, you're looking at, like you said, Kyle Hayes at first base, middle lineup guy. Cam Ross is now in his 4th year here. Started here with us, one of our first signees, and is in his 4th year with us now. And Haller at second, and Reed, Howard, who I'm sure could have easily went in and made some money and went to maybe somewhere bigger and better. But he saw the opportunities he's had here, and he saw that he wasn't, him and his family weren't sure that would obviously be the case somewhere else, which is true, right? It's not always exactly what you think you're going to get when you go somewhere else. And that was Kyle Hayes. Kyle Hayes, with the numbers he put up with the home runs and the RBIs and things of that nature, for one more year, he could have went somewhere else. And he sat in my office and he says, I know what I get here. I like it here. I want to finish here. And that was it. There was no problem at all with those guys. So position player-wise, when you're talking from the top to kind of the middle of the lineup type guys, that tends to be pretty big. And then you got Lyles and Gavin Perry and Dawson Hall, Dom Monaco. Those guys are big. The pitching staff-wise, I mean, Dom can be dominant. He was just a freshman last year. I worked, there's some of those guys kind of in the weeds that people might not realize maybe how hard you work to make sure that you keep the relationship and they know really what they could have here the next year. And Dom was one of those guys, just an electric left-handed arm that just it needs to still be growing. And his last 3 or 4 outings for us right now, he's been dominant to the hitters in our live session. So Zach Lyles has that experience. Gavin will tell you, Gavin's never really won in his life until he came here last year, and it was awesome for him. So he was like, I know what I'm getting here, and I want to stay and finish this here, kind of the same way as Kyle Hayes did, thought process-wise. So, Gavin comes back and has just taken it to another level and is a weekend guy for us. Right now, he's a Friday, Saturday guy for us right now. So it pays off for them as well. It's paying off for me that you have that core come back, but it pays off for them as well.
There's someone in that core, Dawson Hall, senior now.
Yeah.
Spent all of his time at Western. How much has he grown and just really stepped up into this veteran position? What do you expect to see from him this year?
Hopefully the same as really what I've gotten overall. The only thing that stops Dawson Hall every now and then is just, the knick-knack injury of an arm, like a little bit longer to recover, or has to take a week off, or which that is what it is. It comes with being a pitcher. That God didn't make us to throw overhand like that, or else we'd walk down the street that way. So there's a reason why softball can do that and we can't. So every now and then that's been the only thing that stopped him. And he's strong. Let's go back to Neffendorf and the pitching coach, and Hall. And a new pitching coach comes in. Hall right now has made the comment numerous times. This is the best he's felt in a long time. So between the weight room and between what we're doing pitching wise, and for a guy like that who's can start or be at the end of a game is really big for us. Yeah, with me it's really tough because I just don't. I'm kind of a oblivious to this stuff a lot of ways. Like, I am so consumed with, the culture and how we roll out of bed and just how we attack a day. I don't care if we're first or we've been picked last. My first year here, we were picked last, which I get it. They won like 18 games the year before we got here. I can't even remember what we were the year after that, preseason. So I've never heard any of our guys talk about it. I'm sure they know, of course. I don't even, in the classroom setting, when I'm talking with our guys, I don't even talk about that stuff. It's not even what we worry about. And that's just kind of how I've always been. We were that way last year. It worked out pretty well for us. And we just, you got to really walk the talk, and you just be where your feet are. So today, we're just kind of where our feet are, and we're not worrying about that.
What do you talk about with the guys right now as we're
Who?
gearing up to start the season?
So what you get with me, it's about how you roll out of bed, man. It's how their body language in practice, just how they carry themselves. Guys want to be professional until they got to do professional things. Isn't that funny? Sometimes. So we talk to them about being professional. And I get it. They're in college, but they all want to play pro ball, and we got guys that have a chance to play pro ball. Well, then work on being professional. Don't be an immature kid. And there's things about how you do one thing is how you do everything. And one of the signs, and I don't have a lot of signs in the facility, but one of the signs is we don't move for anyone. And what I mean by that is, yeah, it could be a hitter in the box and get hit by a pitch, take your base, but it means, we have standards and we have beliefs and we have a way that we call our living, breathing culture. And it's, we don't veer off and make bad decisions that way. We don't get into the wrong car with the wrong people. We don't talk the wrong talk and be negative and be in that group. Like, we're not going to move for anyone and change who we know we want to be and who we need to be. To be better as a person that's part of a team that's part of winning. And so it's the same thing that my wife and I have done to raise two sons at home, and talking in the living room is how we talk in the locker room, and vice versa. So it's what these kids get every day, and I'm a lot for them at times. But I always tell them, baseball, life, and Coach Rardin are the three most stubborn things they're going to run into. That you got to stop trying to fight them, and you got to figure them out, and you got to work with them. And that's life, and that's baseball, and that's dealing with me. If you think you're going to be that square peg and keep trying to go in the round hole, you're going to lose. And so it's about growing up here, and if anybody asks me, and they're like, just how is it? And I've been asked a lot in 3 years, like, how did you do it for that the program, where it was for a time being. To where it's now. I just said it's culture. Number one, it's recruiting the right kids from the right families. If I'm getting a kid who's a really talented player, but the person in him hasn't grown up the way of having respect for your parents or act in a certain way, taking critiquing, they take it as criticism. Like, then don't come here. You're going to struggle here. So that goes back to Coach Fournier, Coach Herbst, and Coach Neffendorf, just with the recruiting, just getting the right person. I will take a 5-star person and a 3-star player like all day long, and because you get a group of those guys together, and now it is a very strong team.
Now, that being so, with the success you guys have had, the guys that you've sent into pro ball.
Yep.
Are you seeing a higher floor just in general with the kids that you can recruit?
Oh yeah, without a doubt, and even talking about going in the portal this summer. We picked up 2 NAIA All-Americans. There's one's a middle lineup hitter for us, and one's going to be a weekend starter for us on the mound. And just the name, the respect. When you say WKU, WKU's calling, they will pick up, they will listen. You got a chance. You got to know who you're recruiting and who you're in there competing with. But, this fall, scouts in the stands when we're scrimmaging. Wasn't there at all when we first got here. So the times are changing in multiple ways, and you see growth in the program with those different little things happening.
Coach, you opened up a home stretch against BYU. Obviously, it's the first couple of games. In your words, what are some things that you want to see from the team in those first couple of games out?
No, the number one thing that I really work on here starting next week is just, guys, the guys put so much pressure on themselves, right? And what's pressure? Majority of these guys, unless some real personal situations have happened to them or they've been involved with them with their families or whatnot, they don't know what pressure is. Like, it's a made-up thing. So we're at WKU, going to school, getting our degrees, and getting to play some baseball. There's not a lot of pressure. So there needs to be more of an excitement and a drive than there is a pressure to it. So that's the number one thing. And you're talking about the beginning of our schedule. This is going to be the toughest schedule that we've played in my 4 years here by far, starting off the first month. So, I've also told my returners, and I've already started talking about this, like, every ship needs to be able to take on water. It just doesn't need to sink. There's various ways you can do that without meaning you're going to sink. And we're not going to start 20-1 like we did last year. We're not going to do it, okay? But with that being said, by the time we get to the start of conference, we could be better than we were last year, just in the way of being ready for conference. I thought we were still having to grow starting in conference last year because our preseason schedule wasn't as tough. I mean, the saying of iron sharpens iron is a real thing, and you are who you hang out with type of thing. So that's what I look at with the schedule this year too, to where we just got to be able to have some growth. And, it's really win or learn, right? It's not win or lose. And our guys really need to remember that this year. So I've started that preparation. I don't look at that as loser talk, and I definitely don't try to make it as loser talk. But there is the fact of you're going to lose some games in baseball, and it's not how you start, it's how you finish type of thing. And what I'm looking for is for us to be excited and for us to enjoy the competition, enjoy each other in the competition, and then within that is just looking to get better every day. I mean, I really don't like the word process, but it is real. My patience, which is very little at most times, I struggle with it, but it is real, and there has to be growth. I just look at that more as growth.
Well, Coach, you kind of touched on it in the beginning here, talking about this team. 9 returners, 30-plus new faces. What can you tell us about this group of guys?
Number one thing is that the recruiting that my staff did was tremendous, because it took a week and a half, and it was just like everybody was connected. And again, that goes to recruiting the right types of kids. And so that was the first thing, that the locker room had some electricity in it, and they were fun to be around each other. So that goes a long ways in a long season, in a long school year. So that was the first thing. There's guys that have stepped up probably more and have continued to rise. And then there's some guys that are learning right now as we've come back from Christmas that they need to find the next level within themselves. Guys always want to get their piece of whatever that is, whether it's ABs, innings on the mound, whatever, but to get that piece, you have to give some as well. And you have to give more time, whether it's in the cages, in the weight room, whatever it may be. So, we've got some separators right now, which is good, and it helps you continue to find, who everybody is. Everybody likes the fall because it's the fall, right? It's a long ways away from the spring. Now all of a sudden we're back from Christmas and the season is right around the corner, and now guys can see where they're at as well right now. Kids will do dumb things, say dumb things, but they're not stupid. And so they see stuff as well in a lot of ways. For me, I just want to see their reaction to that. I want to see them deal with the adversity. I want to see them deal with what they have to handle with what reality is right now, and that they're the backup at a position. Well, you're one play away from being the guy. You're one weekend away. One bad weekend for one kid is a good weekend for another. It's just, we talk about work while you wait. Work while you wait all the time for them. And, hopefully we got some kids with the quality of kid they are that are doing that.
Now, this early season schedule obviously stacked with could potentially be in cold weather. You've always coached in cold weather. Is there anything that you've learned over the years that kind of helps you manage, especially that pitching staff, and keep them healthy and ready to go throughout the year?
My dad is 91 years old now, and he will tell you that I have never liked cold weather, ever. So yes, I have coached in it and coached in a long time, and I hate it as well. But this is cold, but not real cold, right? Compared. But the number one thing you say about pitchers is this is 30 years of college coaching. I've never had a hitter roll out of bed on a cold day and go, "Oh, I cannot wait to hit today. It's freezing out." They don't do that. So pitchers really have to embrace it, and they have. We'll be outside. We do some things outside, even not like crazy stuff, but we'll be outside. We'll do some things just in the way of dealing with cold. And the best thing you want to be is a pitcher on a cold day. The one thing they say, "Oh man, pitchers will get hurt on cold days." Pitchers don't get hurt on cold days. Your right fielder who stands around out there for a couple innings, doesn't get a ball, and just barely jogs in between innings and doesn't hit for a couple innings, then all of a sudden he gets an AB and he's trying to bust his tail out of the box. Those are the guys that get hurt on cold days. But oh man, guy will get hurt pitching. He's the warmest cat out there. He's the warmest dude out there. So that's never been the thing. The only thing we do early on with pitchers is, of course, you're still dealing with pitch counts. So we're big with that, and always have been, and you've seen it here in the first 3 years. I develop a pitching staff. I'm not trying to get like just 7 arms and then ride them. Like we get a staff going. So whether that's your Tuesday guys, your Sunday guys, your long relief, your short relief. I don't know how much I've always been Friday night starter, Saturday starter, and I announce them, and then Sunday is like to be determined, right? Because it just depends on how the weekend goes that way. And I think we're starting to see that in our pitching staff is in early on here with those 4-game weekends. Which I don't mind at all. It forces me to throw some more guys. It literally forces you to. And that gives them those opportunities to develop, but also show me where they're at right now and how they're going to help us.
How about this lineup? You've had quite a bit of pop in last year's group. Do you feel like this is the same type of group potentially?
Yeah, I feel like this has more. This definitely has the potential. It definitely showed it this fall. Now, that was the fall, and you don't win any rings and trophies for that, but it showed it this fall that it was more doubles, more home runs. So we like where we're at when we put our best 9 out there right now, and like I said, little leagues to big leagues, it starts on the mound. At some point you got to be able to stop teams, and so that's hitting with me and Coach Fournier offensively. You've seen us. Our first year, I think we led the country in sack bunts. And last year we're able to change who we were, and I think that's what you get with me and Coach Fournier is just the versatility of who you can get, who you can recruit at Western Kentucky, who you like and who you can get, whether they're a guy with pop or they're a guy that can run. I mean, I don't get a chance to golf a lot at all, but you get a golf bag that's just not full of drivers and it's just not full of putters. It's not full of pitching wedges either. So you got a variation in your bag, and I think that's what we've done a good job with, is get a variation in the dugout that we can have middle lineup guys, we can have guys at the top, we can put balls down, we hit and run. We obviously like to do a lot of different stuff, and we're able to do that again this year.
Now, Kyle Hayes is the lone preseason all-conference pick. Is he a guy that you still see a lot of room for growth?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. In fact, I had another position player, experienced position player, make the comment about Kyle. He goes, man, I thought Kyle was good last year. I didn't think that he could really do much more. And this fall and early spring, he's even been better. So I learned something. Excuse me. I learned something a while back when I managed some USA national teams, some things down in Cary, North Carolina, and there was a guy speaking, and he said, "You play your best baseball. Males play their best baseball when they're like 28 to 31 years old," which means I never got to play my best baseball. Did you? All right. So that's why I say that is, there's if the kid is mature enough, and I call them all kids. He's not a kid, but if the kid is mature enough and continues to not just rest on what has happened, he has that ability. And Kyle is one of those kids with the quality of person he is, that he has done well to get here, did well really last year, his second year especially. He was better from his first year to his second year, and he's been better this year up to this point. And I think every one of those situations comes down to the person you're dealing with, that wants to challenge themselves, doesn't want to be happy, doesn't want to be content. And so Kyle is excited about who we have around him. He's very educated that way with some of the other pieces that come in that can protect him, and Cam Ross as well, and they can help each other in the middle of our lineup.
Last year's success really put this Western program on a map, more than it has in a long time. No matter how much the turnover is year after year, what do you hope people are seeing every year, every season about this Western program?
The number one thing I hope more people would be seeing is our games. I hope they'd come out to our games. I have this vision all the time that, I tell people all the time, in our culture, especially in our new building, you can hear about this culture, you can see it, you can hear it, see it, and I'm going to tell you, you can feel it when you're around our kids, and when you're in that building. And if people come out to our games, when I first got here, all I heard about before even day one was just like, man, just where this program is right now. When they get down, they just quit, like it's just over. I mean, there's people that go to games and they watch the games, and obviously I heard that, and of course I'm thinking, yeah, that ain't me, so didn't have to worry about that. But the thing is from day one, our kids would go out and compete, and the enjoyment to go out and watch kids who are competing and having fun competing, and the way we play with what we will do, whether it's hit the ball out of the yard, we'll pitch it a little bit, we do hit and runs. We're just not sitting around there. It's not, I get baseball can be boring enough as it is. I'm the first one, I get it, and it can be like 3 hours, like I get it. But if people come out and they see some of the things that we've done, even at the field with the lawn chair seating, it is all concrete and turf down the left field line. And right beside the net that goes all the way down the left field line for security reasons, for safety reasons, the turf has been elevated. So they're sitting and they're actually up above the field a little bit, and it's clean. It's a clean look. It's not coming in somewhere and you're standing in rocks and dirt and everything like that. And then of course the upper deck patio seating upstairs that they can purchase for. But it really goes back to the product you're putting on the field. And I think what we've done up to this point, during the season, I pretty well got to put my phone away. My wife's the one that will get on, and she'll read all how bad the coach is and all the comments and everything. And I'm like, man, why are you looking at that stuff? That's what wives do, right? The head coach of the head coach. But she looks at all that stuff. But my thing is just, people. I challenge them this: if you want to have an opinion, come out to 5 games. Come out to 5 games during the season and then have an opinion. Awesome. But I just want to see you come out to 5 games first. Get your butt in the seats, bring your lawn chair, your own comfortable lawn chair, sit down the left field line, have a great seat, be upstairs in the upper deck, and then have, I know what they're going to like when they come out there. If they're just getting consumed by the scoreboard and that's it in baseball, I mean, this isn't football. I mean, poor Helton's got to try to win every dang game. Hank can't be, he can't go out and lose 25 or 20 games or whatever, 15 games. I mean, it's different sports. For me, I only lose 15, and it's a hell of a season, those types of things. So it's different that way. You can't always just get locked in on they lost. Well, who you playing? That's the number one thing. And then it comes to, how just overall, what's the track record in the last week and then that month and in the season. So I think people should be excited about WKU baseball. The people in this area that are fans, that are locals, I got, again, vision of warmer weather in April and mom and dad bringing their kids out to not an expensive ticket at all to get in, to watch the game, to run around on the field afterwards, to hang out with our guys, get autographs, whatever. They'd love it. We'd love it. And that's my vision, is like we're the family, the place, family-wise. Baseball, you can always go there and we can have a beer and we can have a hot dog and we can talk business, we can talk about life while the game's going on. I get there's, again, that boredom part of all this. But within that, you can't do that in basketball and football as much, those types of sports. So you get to baseball and it's the more laid back, bring the family out, and that's where I really see where we're going. But again, we just got to do our part. You got to put a product on the field, which I think we're doing again.
I don't know how much you look at the rest of Conference USA, especially this time of year, but if you have you noticed the same amount of turnover with other programs? Are you guys typical of the league, or is it success?
No. It's social media kills you. It's self-promotion. It's doing all the promoting of your players. Reality is we just don't have a ton of NIL. So my staff does a great job and busts their tail and gets the right kids in here. Then the second thing you do is you develop them even better while they're here. And then success, social media, things like that take over. And then it just gets to be a vicious business and things happen. So that's I really don't know what the answer is for that. The first and foremost I know I could say would be if I had all that money too, but that's not where I chose to be right now, and that's not who we are, and that is what it is for me. We sit in staff meetings all the time, and if there is a sport that you can compete a little bit, we've already shown it the last 3 years. I mean, I can start going down and telling you in the conference, starting from those rankings that you were mentioning earlier, where the money is, and then just keeps going down. We're overachieving as it is right now. And kudos to my staff and what they do every day, and then the kids that we get to that point. So, no, the turnover in the conference was not like what we had. In fact, most of the country wasn't like what we had. With that. I mean, but that's how successful we were, and it just drew light to them. Anything else?
Anything else, guys?
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. I think I give you enough.